Sorry, everybody. Thank you for your patience. Welcome to the May 13th, 2025 Board of Zoning Appeal hearing. Ms. Cobb, will you please call roll?
Shantae Hall.
Present.
Richard Eslick.
Present.
Corey Carnegie.
Present.
Fred Walker. Melissa Venable.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Great. Are there any additional corrections to the previous BZA minutes? I did have a couple minor edits that Melvion has made. If you're comfortable with that, we can move forward. It was just one wording thing in the spelling of my last name. So if you're comfortable without seeing those, we can move forward with the minutes. All in favor, say aye, or we can wait till next. All right, the minutes are approved. That was easy. We'll move on to our items for this afternoon. Our first item is BZA 072025, map number 35F*LN*25, submitted by A2Z Solutions LLC. Ms. Cobb, will you please read the caption?
Before the Board of Zoning Appeals today is BZA 07-2025. The applicant, A to Z Solutions LLC, is requesting a variance to reduce the required side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 5 feet for construction of a single-family dwelling. The property is identified as tax map 35F*LN*25, located on North 4th Street, zoning classification residential medium density. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a request to reduce the required side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 5 feet for construction of a new single-family dwelling. Should the board decide in favor of approving this request, the 8 findings as listed in your package must be articulated as part of the motion. We will now have staff analysis and recommendation by Lisa Marshall, zoning official.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, board members, staff, and guests. The applicant A to Z Solutions LLC is requesting a variance from the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Section 31407C, Table 407-1, Dimensional Standards L, to reduce the required side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 5 feet to construct a new single-family dwelling. The property is identified as tax map and parcel 35F*LN*25, located at 0 North 4th Street, Suffolk, Virginia. Wheelerville Voting Borough. Zoning classification RM, residential medium. This variance request was advertised in the Suffolk News Herald, and a notice was mailed to adjacent property owners in accordance with Section 15.2-2204 of the Code of Virginia. The public notice sign was posted on the property pursuant to the request of the zoning administrator. In accordance with Section 3109C2 of the UDO, a variance may be granted by the board only if the applicant establishes compliance with the hardship criteria established in Section 15.2-2309 of the Code of Virginia. An excerpt from the state code which outlines the established criteria is attached at the end of this report. The applicant is requesting a variance to reduce the required side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 5 feet in order to construct a new single-family dwelling. The dimensional standard requirements for newly platted lots in the RM zoning district requires lots to have a total land area of 10,000 square feet with a minimum street frontage of 60 feet and a lot width of 80 feet measured at the front setback line. This lot is approximately 3,300 square feet in land area, making the lot legally non-conforming. The width of any newly constructed home must be a minimum of 20 feet wide. Due to the inability to construct a 20-foot wide home on the lot and meet the required setbacks, staff recommends approval of this request. Here you have the elevations, and there is the survey, and I am available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for Lisa?
Or we ask later when the individual comes up, because I don't know if they own both of the lots or if both the same, they're using both of the same buildings, but they're gonna run into a problem at the lot next door to this one, to this lot.
Why is that?
Because it's a drainage, it's a big drain on the corner, and that drain runs into that actual lot right there. So it's gonna say that the water and sewer for that house next door is actually on this lot right here.
But they'll
So
be
they're gonna-
responsible
yeah.
to move it. That's not,
Yeah, but it's a drainage, it's a big drainage that's gonna run into a problem when they go to the house next door. So I just wanna let them be aware of that up front.
okay. Has utilities taken a look at this?
Utilities has, you mean Public Works?
I'm sorry, yeah.
We hadn't heard anything about that yet. First.
Yeah, it's gonna come up once they go to do everything else.
Which would just mean that those utilities would have to be relocated or, yeah.
Okay.
But we can, I think they'll appreciate that you're making mention of that. And after the public hearing, we can make sure that he's fully aware. Okay, any other questions? All right, we will go ahead and open the public hearing. Hearings are 30 minutes in length. We have 10 minutes for the proponents, 15 minutes for opposition, and 5 minutes for rebuttal. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this application? You're welcome to come up. If you could state your name and address.
Hi, this is Luke Etheridge with A to Z Solutions. I live at 1716 Mount Airy Court, Virginia Beach, Virginia. I was just here I was instructed to be here. I've done a couple of these. This is the first time that I've actually asked to be. Ms. Cobb, you and I've spoke on the phone a million times, and and there was stuff with administrative variances and stuff. But really, I mean, we had the plans up, the site plan and everything. I'm not sure if you have any other questions for me or concerns. I know you briefly spoke about the corner lot. That's owned by another company, but I am going to be the contractor on it. I spoke to Ms. Birchfield in the engineering, and I haven't heard anything about the drainage or any of that stuff. My surveyors and my engineers have never said anything about any of the drainage concerns or coming into something. One lot does have water and sewer currently because there was an old residence. I think the corner lot, which is actually already addressed at 114, is the one that doesn't have it. But other than that, I mean, whatever else you guys need me to answer or anything.
We'll ask our questions after the public
Oh,
portion,
okay.
or public hearing portion of this, and I think we do have a couple questions. If you want to just stand by, we'll see if there's any opposition,
Okay.
and then we can call you back up.
All right, perfect.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate it.
Is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Seeing none, Luke, is there anything you'd like to add, or just if you want to hold for a second for questions, we can have you come back up? Okay, terrific. No opposition, so we will go ahead and close the public hearing. If you do want to come back up, we can have a dialogue and ask you some questions if you don't mind. I think Mr. Carnegie was noting that Lot 24, which is the house that's currently built, is that right? Or
It's not built yet. So if you go back up to where the two signs are at on right there, right there to the left of that sign right there. If you go right there to the left, is a big drainage ditch.
Okay.
Right there. And it runs straight into that lot. The house used to be there, but on that lot right there, this right there, it is an old septic tank on that lot.
Yes, sir. The one that we're
The one
speaking.
to the corner, to the one on the
which
corner.
we'll be talking about in a
Yeah,
second.
okay, so the other lot to the right, the one to the right, the actual water and sewer is on the lot that you're talking about right now.
Right, okay, yes, sir.
Okay, so
Right,
it's
yeah.
different.
I was aware of the old septic tank. I know that's going to have to be evacuated, collapsed, and, inspected once we do all that stuff. I was aware of the old septic tank. Yes, sir.
And then utilities will have to deal with sewer,
Right,
or with
yeah.
utilities, water and services. So I think we're good. Do we have any other, I did have one question. I see that we have space for one driveway in the diagram that was given. Unless I went too far here. One driveway space, I should say.
Yes, ma'am. So when we, if you're, I'm sorry, I'm trying to jump.
No, go ahead.
When we originally proposed it, we had a double wide driveway, but that pushes it over to the impervious area. So we reduced it to one because then they allow the garage to be counted as an off-street parking spot because both of these houses do have a single-car garage. Is that what you're going to? Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
Yeah, just what, I mean, on all those streets through the area, parking gets pretty tight with
Oh, trust me.
driveways and
Yeah,
things, so-
that's why I stick with the model with the garage, because on these cases, when we can't do the double wide, I always do the double wide if we can, regardless of the garage. But since with, so that we could avoid the, going over the limit of the impervious area and stuff, we reduced it back down to a 10-foot wide driveway for that purpose.
Okay. That was my only question. Is there anything in addition? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Do we have any other dialogue or a motion?
I'll make a motion for approval.
A second.
We have a motion for approval by Mr. Eslick and a second by Mr. Carnegie. Discussion of the motion. Seeing none, please, Ms. Cobb, would you call for a vote?
Shantae Hall,
Yes.
Richard Eslick,
Yes.
Corey Carnegie,
Yes.
Melissa Venable.
Yes.
The motion carries 4-0.
Terrific, congratulations. We have the second application, also by the same applicant, BZA 08-2025, map number 35F, star LN, star 26. Ms. Cobb, would you please read the caption?
Before the Board of Zoning Appeals today is BZA 08-2025. The applicant A to Z Solutions LLC is requesting a variance to reduce the required interior side yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet, and the required side yard adjacent to a street setback from 25 feet to 5 feet for construction of a new single-family dwelling. The property is identified as tax map 35F star LN star 26, located on North 4th Street, zoning classification residential medium density. When you act on this request, you'll be acting on a request to reduce the required interior side yard setbacks from 10 feet to 5 feet and the required side yard setback adjacent to a street from 25 feet to 5 feet for construction of a new single-family dwelling. Should the board decide in favor of approving this request, the 8 findings as listed in your package must be articulated as part of the motion. We will now have staff analysis and recommendation by Nathan Davidson, zoning inspector.
Afternoon. My name is Nathan Davidson. I'm a zoning inspector for the city of Suffolk. I will be presenting today. The applicant, A to Z Solutions LLC, is requesting a variance from the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 4, Section 31-407C, Table 407-1, Dimensional Standards K and L, to reduce the required interior side yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet and to reduce the required side yard adjacent to the street setback from 25 feet to 5 feet in order to construct a new single-family dwelling. The property is identified as tax map and parcel 35F star LN star 26, located on North 4th Street, Suffolk, Virginia, Whaleyville Voting Borough, zoning classification RM, residential medium. This variance request was advertised in the Suffolk News Herald, and a notice was mailed to adjacent property owners in accordance with Section 15.2-2204 of the Code of Virginia. The public notice sign was posted on the property pursuant to the request of the zoning administrator. In approving a variance, the board must find, conditioned upon the applicant having acquired the property in good faith, that the applicant's situation is unique due to the particular physical surroundings, size, shape, topographical condition, or other extraordinary situation, and not shared by other properties in the same zoning district and vicinity. The board must also find that the denial of the variance would result in undue hardship rather than inconvenience, that the character of this district would not be changed as a result of granting of the variance, and that the situation is not of a general nature that it would require a text amendment to the zoning ordinance to achieve compliance. The property owner acquired this property in good faith in January 2025. Current development standards for newly created lots in the RM zoning district require 60 feet street frontage, 80 lot width at the setback line, and minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet. Per Section 31-801 of the UDO, this is a legally non-conforming infill lot. Parcel measures 30 feet by 110 feet with a total lot size of 3,300 square feet. Current development requirements require minimum width of a dwelling to be 20 feet. With the current side setbacks of 25 feet from the side property line adjacent to Bank Street and 10 feet interior side setback, it is not possible to build on this 30-foot wide parcel. The strict application of the current dimensional standards established for development in the RM zoning district would render the parcel undevelopable. Therefore, staff recommends approval for this request. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Nathan before he sits down? We will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of the application? Same rules apply.
Hi, Luke Etheridge again. I live at 1716 Mount Airy Court, Virginia Beach, Virginia. Yeah, this is the same situation, same model house that we plan on building. And, yes, that's about it, I guess. I apologize.
We'll be right back to you. I don't see anybody else. I'm not trying to be too informal, but is there anyone here to speak in opposition? Oh, seeing none. Do you have anything you'd like to add? If not, okay, we'll close the public hearing. Do we have any questions?
Only question that we have, like, other builders that come up here with
Yes.
the corner lots and everything, you have a garage. We just asked if you could put the garage on the opposite side, so that way it's not like a blind spot when you at that stop sign, because you know there's a stop sign right there. So if you got your car right there and, you know.
In the driveway?
Right.
Right.
Is really a blind spot. It's really a blind spot right there.
Okay.
So that's the only thing that, you know, I have for that right there.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was actually going to note the same thing, and I think your driveway would potentially be less tricky, as it shows on this site plan here. It's got a lot of curve in it to avoid, I think, some utilities. So if it's possible to mirror image the
Absolutely.
house,
I have a
think
mirror image going right now on 208 Beach Street. It's just a flip-flop, exact
Perfect.
reverse, so there's no problem with that, and I can get my survey to redo it, so upon approval or whatever happens, you know, I'll have it, when I submit for actual permits, I'll have it flip-flopped and reversed.
That'll help you also with that situation I'll tell you about the drainage.
Right, with the
and that
drainage issue or
and
anything that's
everything,
going on there.
'cause that
Keep it
drainage
a little
is
bit
right
further away from it in case, yeah,
there. Yeah.
okay.
So I might suggest, as long as you're comfortable with it, that when we make the approval, it would be approval contingent
Contingent.
on this house being mirrored or shown opposite of what's shown in our package here. Also, just because I think we need to mention this, we are, you know, we're looking at these favorably because there is a hardship. These are existing lots that are otherwise undevelopable, which would create a hardship for the owner of the property. We tend to neglect stating that, but it does need to be stated for record that,
No, absolutely, and that's prior to even purchasing the lands or even making a contract. I had spoke, I think, Ms. Cobb maybe once, Mrs. Cobb, and then I came in here a couple of times, and I tried to do that because I just know how it is, you know what I mean? I didn't want to create a situation and go down this road if, you know, I didn't, you know, so.
right? Terrific. Well, thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Etheridge.
Thank you.
Do we have any additional comments or a motion?
I'll make a motion that, for approval with the exception noted on flipping the house.
I second that motion the same way, like Mr. Estes said.
Okay, terrific. So we have a motion and a second for approval with the condition that the house would be shown with the garage entry furthest from the intersection of 4th and Bank, I believe. Discussion of the motion? Ms. Cobb, would you please call for a vote?
Shantae Hall. Yes. Richard Eslick.
Yes.
Corey Carnegie.
Yes.
Melissa Venable.
Yes.
The motion carries 4-0.
Congratulations, sir. Thank you all. It was nice to see you here today, Nathan. Hopefully we'll get, what?
That's his first.
Yeah, you did a great job. I believe Ms. Cobb told me that there's no June meeting. I'm going to miss you guys so much.
But we can come anyway?
If you would like to,
Yeah.
I'll be here.
We're going to schedule a pool date. So, that concludes our meeting. Thank you so much.